Chosen one. You are not here by accident. This moment is a divine appointment, a summons written into your spirit long before you pressed play. Heaven has aligned your steps because you are standing at the edge of a supernatural financial shift, a divine wealth transfer, prepared with your name on it. Anointed one, the pressure you've been feeling is not collapse, it is confirmation. The Lord is positioning you, refining you, and awakening you for what is about to be released. For the blessing of the Lord makes rich and adds no sorrow with it. Prepare your spirit. Something holy is unfolding right now. Chosen one, listen closely. What you're stepping into isn't ordinary increase, and it isn't something the world can measure in numbers or digits. This next level is a divine elevation, a supernatural transfer, a destiny-shaping release that heaven has been preparing behind the scenes long before you felt the first hint of change. What you're sensing in your spirit is not imagination. It is alignment. It is heaven tightening the final bolts before the launch of something that will redefine your life forever. Chosen one. This isn't just about money, it never was. Wealth is only the surface. What God is positioning you for carries weight, assignment, and consequence. When heaven places something in your hands, it is never random. It is never casual. To whom much is given, much will always be required, not as a warning, but as a sign that you are being entrusted with something sacred. And hear me, God does not entrust destiny to unstable hands. That is why the waiting felt long. That is why the silence stretched further than you expected. That is why people around you seem to rise faster, shine quicker, and accelerate beyond you, but only on the surface. What looked like delay was actually divine training. While others ran ahead chasing applause, you were being built brick by brick in the quiet, hidden places where heaven does its best work. Anointed one. I know what it feels like to wonder if God forgot you. I've been in the seasons where I prayed and heaven seemed still. I've walked through the months where every door felt locked and every effort felt unseen. I know that strange silence that presses against your spirit, that silence where nothing is happening externally but internally you feel like God is rewiring your entire being. It's unsettling, it's lonely, and it feels like you're being stretched beyond what you can understand. But hear me, in my own journey, it was in those silent seasons that God shaped me the most. When the noise stopped, His voice became undeniable. When the spotlight disappeared, His presence became unmistakable. And I realized something profound, something I now speak over you. Heaven hides you when heaven is preparing you. Chosen one, that is what He has been doing with you. He wasn't ignoring you. He was insulating you. He wasn't withholding blessing. He was strengthening the vessel, and that internal stretching, that inner pressure, that spiritual tension, that was God rehearsing your spirit for the unfamiliar, because sudden wealth, sudden elevation, sudden visibility, they require stability. They require identity. They require a soul anchored enough not to crumble when the blessing arrives. You were not being punished. You were being processed. Some people touch wealth but lose themselves. Some step into opportunity but collapse under the weight of it. Some catch the blessing but lack the structure to sustain it. That will not be your story. Heaven refused to let that be your story. Chosen one, your preparation has not been wasted. Every tear softened your heart. Every disappointment trained your discernment. Every delay sharpened your clarity. And every lonely night fortified your foundation. And now heaven is whispering, you are ready. You're not just receiving wealth, you're becoming the kind of person who can steward it, the kind who can hold favor without being corrupted by it, the kind who can rise without losing humility, the kind who can shine without forgetting the source of the light. Chosen one. You are not just being blessed, you are being entrusted, and the world is about to see the difference. Chosen one. As you step further into this unfolding revelation, there is something you must understand with absolute clarity. Sudden wealth is never just a blessing. It is a mirror. It exposes, it refines, and it reveals the deepest architecture of your soul. When heaven prepares to elevate you financially, it is not merely positioning your bank account, it is positioning your identity. This next dimension of increase was never meant to make you comfortable. It was meant to make you capable. Capable of carrying influence without collapsing under its weight. Capable of managing abundance without losing your humility, and capable of stepping into visibility without forfeiting your purpose. I tell you this from a place of lived experience. I have walked through seasons where opportunities opened so quickly that my emotions struggled to keep up. I have felt the pressure of answered prayers, the weight that comes when blessings arrive faster than understanding. And in those moments, I learned something heaven has been teaching you as well. If God increases your resources before He increases your character, the blessing can become a burden. Many people rise with speed, but few rise with stability. Many obtain wealth, but few sustain it with wisdom. That is why your journey has been slower, deeper, and more intentional than others. Heaven was not delaying you, heaven was developing you. Chosen one. The silence you experienced was strategic. The stillness was sacred. When others stepped into rooms you longed to enter, it was not because God rejected you. It was because God was still refining you. He was strengthening the parts of you that pressure would test. He was expanding your discernment, sharpening your boundaries, purifying your motives, and healing the wounds that could sabotage your future. Heaven does not promote a heart that is easily swayed by applause or easily wounded by rejection. Heaven promotes the heart that has learned to stand even when nothing around it makes sense. You may not have realized it, but while others were publicly celebrating their achievements, God was privately constructing your foundation. While others displayed their progress, God was deepening your roots. While others chased noise, God was training you in silence. That sacred stillness was rehearsal, a preparation for the unfamiliar blessings approaching your life. You were being taught how to carry what others mishandle, how to manage what others misuse, and how to steward what others squander. Chosen one. Sudden wealth exposes not only who you are, but also who should not have access to you. This is why certain relationships shifted, why some people fell away, and why some distances grew without explanation. Not everyone can be present in the next chapter of your calling. Some would have drained the blessing, others would have diluted your discernment, and a few would have used your elevation as their opportunity. So God, in His mercy, removed what your emotions might have tried to keep. Every disconnection was protection. Understand this truth deeply. Sudden financial elevation is not about accumulation. It is about assignment. It is about what you will build, heal, and restore with what heaven places in your hands. This is why the journey has demanded strength, humility, and spiritual maturity. Heaven had to ensure your identity was rooted not in validation, but in purpose. Not in applause, but in alignment. Not in ego, but in obedience. And now that you've grown, now that you've endured the refining, the stretching, and the spiritual reshaping, the delay makes sense. You were not waiting for the blessing. The blessing was waiting for you. Waiting for your heart to settle, waiting for your vision to sharpen, waiting for your spirit to expand enough to hold the weight of what is coming. Chosen one, you are stepping into a calling that requires capacity, not comfort. And heaven has already begun enlarging that capacity within you. Chosen one, as you move deeper into the unfolding of this divine transition, it's time to confront a truth that most people never realize until it is too late. Wealth does not transform your character, it reveals it. Money is not a disguise, it is a magnifier. It shines a light on every corner of your soul, illuminating strengths you never knew you had, but also exposing wounds you never healed. This next level of abundance that heaven is preparing for you is not merely an increase in resource, it is an increase in responsibility. And the magnitude of that responsibility demands a version of you that is anchored, discerning, and deeply aligned with purpose. Chosen one, think back on the seasons where you struggled not only financially, but emotionally and spiritually. In those moments of lack, your decisions were limited. You prayed with urgency because you had no choice. You planned with precision because survival required it. You leaned on God because you knew you could not rely on anything else. But when provision arrives, when lack is no longer your teacher, everything changes. Abundance brings options. Options bring decisions. And decisions bring temptations. That is why God is preparing you at the level of your identity, not your income. Because if your identity is still wrapped in what you lacked, growing up, wealth will not heal you. It will expose you. If your self-worth is still bound to how others see you, abundance will not empower you. It will tempt you. If your heart is still wounded, unprotected, or easily swayed, sudden wealth will not bless you, it will break you. I have seen this unfold in real life more times than I can count. People who prayed for increase but collapsed beneath it. People who begged for influence but lost their integrity when they finally received visibility. People who asked for platforms but fell into the traps of ego validation and comparison. And the truth is simple: elevation without preparation becomes destruction. But chosen one, hear this with clarity. God refused to let that be your story. The pressure you walked through was not accidental. The losses, the disappointments, the betrayals, they were part of a divine curriculum. Every heartbreak was strengthening your emotional boundaries. Every closed door was sharpening your wisdom. Every moment of solitude was deepening your discernment. Life has not been random for you. It has been tailored training for the mantle you're about to carry. You see, while others were celebrating superficial wins, you were being refined at the root level. And heaven never refines at the root, unless the fruit that's coming will be heavy. This is why the journey felt lonely. Not everyone is meant to walk with someone chosen for global influence. Not everyone is able to stand beside someone destined for kingdom-level stewardship. And so God had to isolate you, not to punish you, but to protect the purity of what He was forming inside you. Chosen one, sudden wealth doesn't just attract opportunity. It attracts spirits. It awakens old wounds. It draws the past back into view, not to destroy you, but to test whether you have truly outgrown what once broke you. People who mocked your struggle will suddenly reappear wearing gentleness like a mask. People who overlooked your value will try to reconnect when God elevates you. People who once betrayed you will return, not because they have changed, but because you have. And here is the real test. Will you operate from ego or elevation? Will you seek revenge or choose release? Will you try to prove yourself? Or will you walk in peace? Forgiveness. Chosen one is not a gift you give others. It is a gate you open for yourself. The new wealth coming into your life cannot coexist with old bitterness. What is being placed in your hands requires clean motives, steady emotions, and a heart healed from past betrayals. And this is why heaven has been working so deeply in your spirit. You are not just being positioned for wealth, you are being positioned for wholeness. Because the real blessing is not what enters your account, it is what enters your character. Chosen one, you are being prepared not to look wealthy, but to carry wealth with wisdom, purity, and divine discernment. The next realm requires nothing less. Chosen one, as your spirit awakens to the truth of what heaven has been orchestrating behind the scenes, you must understand something profound. God does not train you for the blessing you want. He trains you for the blessing you are called to build. What is coming into your life is not a momentary rise or a temporary financial increase. What is forming is legacy. What is unfolding is generational transformation. What is being prepared is a mantle, not a moment. And mantles require weight endurance and a maturity that cannot be developed on easy streets or effortless seasons. You have carried more than most people know. You have survived pressures others don't even realize you've endured. The intensity of your journey has never been punishment, it has been sculpting. Heaven has been shaping you into the kind of person who can carry wealth without being swallowed by it. While many desire abundance, heaven is selective with who it entrusts to steward its resources. And you, chosen one, have been chosen not only because you endured hardships, but because you grew in the very places designed to break you. This is why your warfare has been so fierce. This is why resistance met you at every level. The battles you faced were not random attacks. They were divine preparation. Every challenge has forged endurance inside you. Every disappointment has strengthened your spiritual spine. Every lonely season has expanded your capacity. You are not just being handed resources, you are being elevated into a role, a divine assignment that requires depth, clarity, and an unshakable relationship with God. Part of receiving heaven's wealth is understanding that not everyone who began your journey is permitted to walk with you into the next chapter. And you've seen this. People drifted from your life unexpectedly. Relationships dissolved without explanation. Connections that once felt permanent suddenly vanished. But what felt like abandonment was actually alignment. What you called loss was actually divine correction. Heaven wasn't taking people away from you, it was taking you away from the wrong people. Chosen one. There is a difference between betrayal and separation. Betrayal wounds you. Separation protects you. Some individuals couldn't go where you're going not because they were evil, but because they lacked the character stability or purity required to stand beside someone with your future calling. Wealth magnifies intentions, and God refused to surround you with people who would drain, distort, or dilute what He is placing in your hands. So He pruned your circle. He removed voices that would have influenced you incorrectly. He blocked access from those who were connected to your history but unqualified for your destiny. This is why isolation became your teacher. In the silence, heaven refined your hearing. In the solitude, heaven deepened your identity. In the stillness, heaven sharpened your discernment. You learned to recognize who celebrated your potential versus who simply wanted access to your promise. And although it hurt to release certain relationships, God ensured the pain became clarity instead of bitterness. This refinement was necessary to protect what's coming next. Now, understand, this sudden wealth is not arriving to crown you, it is arriving to commission you. You are not being lifted for luxury, you are being positioned for purpose. God is preparing you to heal what was abandoned, rebuild what was damaged, restore what was forgotten, and uplift what systems have ignored. The wealth being released to you is not accidental, it is targeted, it is prophetic. It is strategic. Heaven is placing resources into the hands of someone trustworthy enough to use prosperity as a tool, not an escape. Deep within your spirit, you already sense the magnitude of what is approaching. You can feel the responsibility, the influence, the spiritual gravity of what's rising inside you. You know this next season is not a simple elevation, it is an assignment. You survived what others couldn't because your calling requires a level of strength others never had to develop. You stayed hidden because your foundation needed to be unshakable before heaven revealed you. And now you are not being elevated for applause, but for alignment with God's vision, God's timing, and God's purpose. Chosen one. This wealth will not only change your life, it will change lives through your life, and heaven has prepared you to carry it with purity, wisdom, and divine authority. Chosen one. As you continue stepping into this revelation, you must understand that the next phase of your journey will challenge you in ways prosperity alone cannot prepare you for. Sudden wealth does not only attract opportunity, it attracts resistance, attention, spiritual warfare, and the resurfacing of things you thought you had already healed from. This is not a sign that you are unqualified. It is proof that you are stepping into territory the enemy hoped you would never reach. When God elevates you, heaven celebrates, but hell reacts. And the moment resources begin flowing into your life, the enemy looks for any crack in your spirit, any unhealed place, any old memory that still carries sting. That is why chosen one seemingly out of nowhere faces from your past may begin to reappear. People who once dismissed you will suddenly remember your name. Individuals who mocked your dreams may re-emerge as if nothing happened. It is not coincidence. It is spiritual testing. Before God trusts a person with influence, he reveals who cannot be trusted around that person. You will notice the shift. Some will come smiling, pretending the wounds never existed. Others will carry silence, avoiding accountability for what they did. And some will approach you still fueled by the same quiet resentment they once held. They return, not because they have changed, but because you have. Your elevation disrupts their comfort. Your blessings awaken their insecurity. Your breakthrough exposes their unbelief. And yet, chosen one heaven is not asking you to defend yourself, explain yourself, or justify what God is doing for you. Heaven is asking you to rise above what once tried to reduce you. This is the turning point. You must recognize the test is not whether they return, the test is how you respond. Will you allow old pain to stain new blessings? Will you seek validation from those who once doubted you? Will you let pride tempt you into proving something? Or will you stand in peace, knowing that elevation is God's answer on your behalf? Forgiveness becomes your weapon here, not because others deserve it, but because you deserve freedom. Unforgiveness is a spiritual chain that cannot coexist with divine wealth. Bitterness blocks blessings, not because God withholds them, but because bitterness narrows your capacity to receive them. And chosen one. The next season requires your hands to be open, not clenched. Your heart must be light, not heavy. Your mind must be clear, not clouded by old stories that no longer define who you are. Understand this: forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. It does not mean access. It does not mean pretending everything is fine. Forgiveness is simply you choosing not to carry poison into a season built on purity. Or chosen. One heaven has refined you too deeply for you to allow your past to interrupt your future. You are stepping into circles where your healed self must speak louder than your hurt self. You are entering spaces where your wisdom must lead, not your wounds. You're walking into blessings that require your discernment to be free of emotional noise. And as you rise, another lie may whisper itself into your spirit, the lie of unworthiness. Suddenly, success feels unfamiliar. Blessings feel too large. Wealth feels too holy to belong to you. And you may hear that small voice saying, "Is this really meant for me?" But hear this clearly, you are not an imposter, you are an answer. You didn't stumble into this season. You were shaped for it, hidden for it, refined for it. The blessing is not a fluke, it is a fulfillment. Everything you survived has qualified you. Everything you surrendered has prepared you. Everything you released has made space for what is about to pour into your life. Chosen one, you are stepping into a realm where identity must stand taller than insecurity, where calling must outrun fear, where purpose must silence doubt. You are not just rising, you are being revealed. Chosen one, now that your spirit has begun to rise into the truth of your identity, it's time to understand the deeper mystery behind why heaven took so long preparing you. You were not being delayed, you were being developed. You were not being ignored, you were being insulated. You were not being overlooked, you were being observed, shaped, sharpened, and strengthened for a realm of responsibility most people never touch. Because what's coming next isn't just wealth. It's not just financial breakthrough. It's not just open doors or new opportunities. What's coming is a redefinition of who you are and what you carry. You are entering a season where your decisions will influence more than your own life. Your discernment will cover more than your own path. Your wisdom will protect more than your own future. Heaven has been forming a leader inside you, not the kind who seeks attention, but the kind who quietly reshapes atmospheres, families, systems, and generations. This is why God could not rush your process. Unrefined character cannot hold refined blessings. An unstable foundation cannot support a divine calling. A wounded identity cannot sustain supernatural increase. Heaven wasn't preparing you for wealth. Heaven was preparing you to carry the weight of the wealth without collapsing under it. Chosen one, every season where you felt hidden was heaven protecting the purity of your assignment. You were not ready to be revealed because the room you were praying to enter would have misread you, mislabeled you, or mishandled you. Some stages you desired would have exploited your gifting but ignored your soul. Some circles you wanted to join would have celebrated your potential but suffocated your purpose. Heaven kept you away from opportunities that would have used you before you understood your worth. This hiding was not punishment. It was preservation. And during that preservation, something extraordinary was happening. Your spirit was growing faster than your circumstances. You didn't realize it at the time, but heaven was enlarging your internal capacity long before enlarging your external territory. Expansion always begins in the unseen. Strength is always built in silence. Identity is always forged in isolation. That's why so much of your breakthrough was preceded by breaking. So much of your elevation was preceded by emptiness. So much of your clarity was preceded by confusion. God allowed every crushing moment not to destroy you, but to extract the version of you that could withstand the blessing. Crushing doesn't cancel calling, it purifies it. And now, something powerful is unfolding. Your spirit is outgrowing your old environment. You can feel it. Old desires no longer pull you. Old identities no longer fit you. Old relationships no longer align with you. Old conversations no longer interest you. This is the mark of someone heaven has upgraded internally before upgrading externally. But with this elevation comes a new layer of warfare, one far more subtle and sophisticated than before. The enemy is no longer trying to destroy you, he's trying to distract you. He knows he cannot touch what heaven has sealed, so he tries to interfere with your focus. He whispers lies of inadequacy. He stirs old insecurities. He attempts to resurrect comparisons, doubts, and fears you thought you left behind. Chosen one. You must understand this key truth: distraction is the enemy's final strategy before divine release. When your breakthrough is near, distractions multiply. When your elevation is close, noise increases. When your blessing is imminent, spiritual interference intensifies. The enemy wants you to question the legitimacy of your calling. He wants you to believe you are unprepared. He wants you to shrink out of humility rather than step forward in authority. But humility is not shrinking. Humility is surrender. And you have already surrendered more than most people ever will. Heaven recognizes your posture. Heaven sees your heart. Heaven has measured your obedience. And heaven has declared, this one is ready. Chosen one. The next phase of your journey requires spiritual intelligence. You must protect your discernment like treasure. You must guard your peace like wealth. You must treat your mind as sacred ground. Because where God is sending you, chaos will try to follow, not because you're weak, but because your presence disrupts darkness. You are about to step into rooms designed for the healed version of you, not the hurting version. You are rising into opportunities that require the wise version of you, not the weary one. You are being positioned for abundance that demands the surrendered version of you, not the self-doubting one. Chosen one. Your time of questioning is over. Your time of shrinking is done. Your time of wondering if you belong is finished. You do belong. You were meant for this. You were prepared for this. And heaven is ready to prove it. Chosen one, as you step into the edge of this divine transition, there is a truth. Heaven wants to carve deeply into your spirit. You were not only preserved, you were prepared. Every battle, every silent season, every unexpected turn was forming a dimension of strength within you that you could not have accessed any other way. And now, as the blessing draws near, your spirit is beginning to sense that something massive is shifting, not around you first, but within you. Because before God ever elevates a person, he elevates their inner world. You may have noticed it, the quiet inner confidence replacing old fears, the clarity beginning to cut through confusion, the discernment sharp enough to sense when something is off before words are even spoken. This is evidence that the transformation in your spirit is already ahead of the transformation in your circumstances. Heaven always shifts your identity before shifting your environment. Chosen one. Hear this, you are not the same person you were 6 months ago, not spiritually, not mentally, not emotionally. You have outgrown timelines designed to limit you, expectations designed to shrink you, and environments designed to contain you. You are outgrowing the noise. You are outgrowing the fear. You are outgrowing the people who never saw your worth. And you are outgrowing the places where your purpose was overlooked. This expansion is why tension increased in your life recently. Elevation and discomfort always come together. When heaven stretches you, everything in your old world begins to feel small. That tightness is not a sign you're in the wrong place. It's proof you're no longer meant to stay where you've been. But with this elevation, you must prepare for another profound reality. When God reveals you, you will be tested by how you respond to being seen. Visibility is not just a stage, it is a spiritual test. Suddenly, your life will be observed. Your decisions will matter more. Your presence will impact atmospheres you once went unnoticed in. And this requires a soul that is anchored, not swayed, grounded, not inflated, secure, not seeking approval. Chosen one. Heaven did not put you through years of refinement just for you to be distracted by applause or intimidated by attention. You are being revealed, not for validation, but for demonstration, a demonstration of what God can do through someone fully surrendered. Yet, one of the greatest tests coming with wealth, visibility, and elevation is this. Voices from your past will try to pull you back into identities you no longer carry. You will encounter people who remember the old version of you and are uncomfortable with your growth. Some will project their insecurities onto your progress. Some will question how you rose so quickly. Others will silently compete with a race you were never running. And a few, though they may smile at you, will carry the quiet resentment of someone watching you step into what they never believed you deserved. But hear this truth: their discomfort is not your assignment. Your responsibility is to remain aligned with the version of you God has created, not the one your past remembers. The next phase of your journey will require you to protect your identity from people who only knew a temporary version of you. You must not let them pull you into conversations that shrink your spirit. You must not let them provoke responses that lower your vibration. You must not allow their expectations to rewrite who you have become. Chosen one. You do not owe anyone the smaller version of yourself. And as you rise, another subtle challenge emerges, not external, but internal, the temptation to dim your light, so others feel comfortable around you. You've done it before. You've downplayed your gifts to avoid jealousy. You've hidden your intelligence to avoid criticism. You've softened your power to avoid conflict. But heaven is breaking that pattern now, because your calling requires full brightness. You are not rising to blend in, you are rising to stand out. You are not being blessed to stay silent, you are being blessed to shift atmospheres. You are not entering abundance to match the room you are entering, abundance to change the room. Chosen one. Wealth is not coming to make you acceptable. Wealth is coming to amplify what God already established in you. Influence will not distort who you are. Influence will reveal who you've become. Success will not create a new identity. It will confirm the identity heaven already planted within you. You are stepping into a chapter where you must lead from your healed self, not your history, and heaven is declaring you are ready. Chosen one. As heaven deepens the work within you, it becomes clear that you are no longer merely preparing to receive wealth. You are becoming the vessel through which heaven will release it. This is not simply a financial shift, it is a spiritual restructuring. It is a transformation of your identity, your thinking, your emotional patterns, and your internal capacity. You are moving into a realm where prosperity is not something you chase, but something that is drawn to you because of who you have become. Every part of your journey, the pruning, the stretching, the silence, the elevation, and even the heartbreak has been molding you into a person capable of stewarding resources without losing your soul. This is why so much in your life has felt like divine rearrangement. Old habits have been falling off of you naturally, almost effortlessly. The thoughts that once controlled you no longer carry authority. The insecurities that once spoke loudly now sound faint and powerless. As you grow spiritually, the things that kept you small lose their grip. Your old self cannot follow you into your new season. Heaven has already begun reshaping your internal world so that when the blessing arrives, you will not be overwhelmed, distracted, or disoriented. What once intimidated you now feels small. What once confused you now feels clear. What once drained you now reveals its purpose. This internal expansion is the undeniable sign that heaven has already begun. And now, chosen one, you are stepping into a season where your daily choices will determine your capacity to carry sudden wealth. Many desire abundance, but maintain patterns that repel it. Many pray for elevation, but cling to habits that sabotage it. But you, the Anointed One, are walking a different path. Your mind is being disciplined. Your focus is being strengthened. Your emotions are learning stability. Your spirit is learning stewardship. Heaven is teaching you mastery because divine wealth demands more than skill. It demands responsibility, clarity, and maturity. Mastery is not loud. It is quiet. It grows in silence, in consistency, in obedience to the small things. This is why stillness has become such a central theme in your life. The quiet moments you spend in reflection prayer or simple breathing are not wasted. They are your spiritual armor. In silence, God reveals truth. In silence, God exposes counterfeit opportunities. In silence, God sharpens discernment, making you sensitive to the subtleties others overlook. Your mornings especially must become sacred ground, a place where your spirit aligns before your hands touch the tasks of the day. Heaven wants you to act from alignment, not exhaustion, from wisdom, not reaction, from clarity, not confusion. Another sacred instruction in this season is release. You must release narratives that no longer reflect who you are. You must release memories that keep you anchored to old pain. You must release fears that threaten to follow you into abundance. Heaven is prompting you to put down every emotional weight that would interfere with the blessing. The forgiveness you've been resisting is no longer optional. It is spiritual preparation. You cannot hold bitterness in one hand and blessing in the other. Your heart must become a place where peace flows freely, because the flow of your wealth will follow the flow of your heart. Chosen One. This is the wisdom heaven wants you to carry. Your wealth will mirror the condition of your spirit. If your heart is peaceful, your prosperity will be peaceful. If your mind is clear, your decisions will be clear. If your intentions are pure, your influence will be pure. God elevates in alignment with character. And this is why heaven has taken so much time reshaping who you are internally, because divine wealth is not deposited, it is entrusted. God entrusts resources to those who have allowed Him to shape their soul. You, chosen one, have passed tests in silence. You have surrendered in seasons no one saw. You have grown when no one applauded. You have remained faithful when nothing made sense, and heaven counted every moment. Now the seeds planted in your spirit are ready to push through the soil, not for display, but for assignment. You're becoming a distribution center for healing, wisdom, strategy, and supernatural provision. The flow will not stop with you. It will flow through you. Chosen one, prepare. You're not stepping into wealth, you're stepping into identity. You're becoming the evidence that God still raises stewards, builders, leaders, restorers, and atmosphere shifters. And heaven is speaking over you now. This is the moment everything has been preparing you for. Chosen one. As we come to the close of this message, let your spirit remain open, because heaven is still speaking. You are not watching this by coincidence. You have stepped into your Kairos moment, the exact, divinely appointed time where everything begins to shift in your favor. What God has prepared is already moving toward you. The transfer has begun, the alignment is happening. And nothing in this world has the authority to interrupt what heaven has ordained for your life. Anointed one, walk forward now with reverence and with confidence. Your hands are being prepared to carry what previous seasons could not hold. Your heart is being refined to steward what others mishandled. Your path is illuminated by the same God who guided you through obscurity, through waiting, through pruning, and through silence. You lacked nothing then, and you will lack nothing now. As you rise from this moment, may clarity cover you, may peace anchor you, and may divine wisdom accompany every step you take. May the wealth assigned to your name find you swiftly, without sorrow, without delay, and without interference. And may your character, your calling, and your courage expand to match the magnitude of what is coming. If this word ignited something in your spirit, chosen one, feel free to declare it in the comments. And if this message is guiding you, stay connected so you never walk alone on this journey of purpose and overflow. Until we meet again, remain faithful, remain aligned, and remain expectant, because your divine season has already begun.